Interviews and the radio and television broadcasts of Brannon House.
Massive human trafficking. It's a record 288 people arrested.
They're not reporting the real numbers.
The numbers are segmented and they are fictitious.
I started my career in 1997 in the United States Border Patrol. It was one of the most violent times in recent Border Patrol history. I made my bones and my reputation on that border. I believe what is happening on the border today is intentional.
We have people in the United States of America that breed children in order to sell them.
Our own government is facilitating the absolute destruction of the American immigration system, and I can prove it point by point. I'm unafraid to speak the truth. This is just data-driven and experience-driven.
A lot of you don't know the whole story about Rachel and about the crime that was committed against her. Even us, her family, we didn't know all the details. They kept most of it close to their chest, the detectives, because they didn't want to do anything to hurt the case. They wanted to keep the integrity of the case, so they kept everything close. I sat for the last 2 weeks in her trial, and we saw layer upon layer upon layer of evidence against the accused, an illegal immigrant from El Salvador. And the things that we thought, well, maybe this might have happened, we didn't know. But when we were at the trial, we got all the puzzle pieces. And I want to share some of those things with you. You know that Rachel's a 37-year-old mother. She has 5 children. We've walked the trail for the last 25 years that we've lived in Maryland. It's a safe place for our family. It's where we go to get a little bit of New England, because that's where we're from, New England. When she went on that trail that day, she was not planning on dying. She wasn't planning on walking to her death. She was planning on going to the grocery store with her girls afterwards. Victor Martinez, he waited for her. He waited for her to come closer. He saw her. He saw that there was nobody around. He attacked her. He dragged her 150 feet, blood gushing from her head. It left a 150-foot trail of her blood to the culverts, where he picked her up, he threw her against the wall of the tunnel, and he raped her. But before he did that, he stopped on that trail, and rocks, still stained with her blood, he used them to hammer her head against those rocks. They say at least 20 times they could count the cuts in her head. They said that when they did the autopsy, and I've seen the pictures, there's a 6-inch square in the back of her head where the skull is shattered the way that you would crush an eggshell in pieces. 3/4 of her brain hemorrhaged. Her right and left side of her face bashed in. Her beautiful face bashed in. Her head bashed in. Broken bones, fractures. He takes and he drags her some more. He drags her through the thorn bushes. She has all the scrapes and cuts on her body. There wasn't 1 inch of her body that didn't have some kind of injury, whether it's bruising, broken bones, contusions, the scratches. She had a fractured rib, fractured nose, fractured skull.
Hey, Caleb.
And then he takes her into the tunnel, and he picks her up. He throws her against the wall. Blood is gushing from her head. Her hair is soaked in blood. And they showed us pictures of her body against the wall, outlined. The blood outlined her body. And you could see where the blood ran down around her as he was raping her. And then he threw her down and raped her some more. And then he strangled her because he didn't want her to be able to live to tell the story. They said that when they did the autopsy on her neck, that one of the things they do is they open up the neck and they look to see how far the injury is. And they went all the way down as far as an injury is possible, hemorrhaging in the muscles, because of how strong and violent the grip was around her. These are the kind of people that have no compulsion. Like, to them, this is nothing. And when he was sitting in the courtroom, he actually looked like he thought he was going to be set free. There was no remorse on his face at all. This person took my daughter so violently and so gruesomely and so graphically that they sealed the pictures, because I don't want my granddaughters to see these pictures. These are the kind of criminals President Trump wants to remove from our country. These are the kind of criminals that we need to remove from our country. We are American citizens. Why should we allow people like this, violent criminals that have no conscience at all, to murder our mothers, our sisters, our daughters? I don't understand why there's even any kind of problem with this. And it's not that it's political, like the left or the right, although I understand different parties have used it in the past. But we have to look at it as we are American citizens. We need to protect our families, our borders, our children. I don't care about politics. Well, I do, but I want to preserve life. And that's the only reason why I have taken and spoken about Rachel all this time. If you're a mother here in the room, can you imagine standing there alive? You're alive, and someone comes and puts their hands into your chest and rips out your heart? That's what it feels like. It feels like a part of you is being ripped out of you. You can't even describe the pain. Just like you can't describe to your husband what it feels like to carry a baby in your womb, or to feel those first kicks, or to know just intuitively if it's a boy or a girl. It's only a thing that a mother knows. Why are we not protecting the American citizens? It's just common sense. Why are we not protecting our children? And to have a senator from Maryland who didn't even acknowledge or barely acknowledge my daughter and the brutal death that she endured, leaving her 5 children without a mother and now a grandbaby without a grandmother, so that he can use my taxpayer money to fly to El Salvador to bring back someone that's not even an American citizen. Why does that person have more right than I do, or my daughter, or my grandchildren? I don't understand this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Heartbreaking. There's a lot to cover in that. Welcome to Truth with J.J. Carrell. I played that whole speech by Rachel Moran's mother because we and me included will go in a episode go through multiple clips to talk about multiple things. But I think it's important that we slow down and understand what's going on in America. Whose side do you need to be on? What are the sides? Who are making the decisions on either side? When you listen to her say it's common sense that we should protect our women and our children, it's common sense. I don't understand. She's going to go through a couple phases, and she's going to come to a realization like I did and many people like me. For many, many times, for many, many times throughout my career in the Border Patrol, I would say the same thing. Why? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. And then until you realize, until you stop looking at it from a very simplistic view or a very rational view of why would anyone in our government allow this to happen? And then you understand and you realize, well, it's not a lack of common sense. It's not a lack of judgment. This is intentional and strategic. And unfortunately, Rachel Moran, who was brutally raped, assaulted, and then murdered, is just a piece of the board game. And she doesn't have any meaning to the left, to the globalists and the rhinos. She just doesn't. She's nothing. She has as much meaning to the other side as an ant does. That you step on the sidewalk, you just don't even care. You just keep walking. Why? Why do they feel that way? Because everything they do justifies the means. There's nothing out of bounds when you need to destroy the United States of America. Either you're part of this leftist group that is making money and gaining power, or you are a crazed ideologue that thinks that America is bad. America has obtained all of her wealth and prestige and power in the world through oppression, slavery, stealing, theft, or you are part of the global reset structure where you want and you know the only way the world gets restructured is if America falls. America is at the top, so everything else under her does not really matter until America is brought to her knees. When America is brought to her knees, then it's a complete free-for-all, and then you can restructure the power in the world. And when you begin to understand this, and you begin to broaden your view and your pain or your frustration subsides and you have a clearer vision and get on a little higher step and you can look around you, it begins to make complete sense. People are still struggling with the fact that Joe Biden opened the borders, just opened them, and allowed 30 million people to cross into America. That wasn't because Joe Biden's an old fool. That's not because Mayorkas is stupid. It's not because Biden's cabinet made bad decisions. No, on the contrary. Mayorkas is extremely intelligent. The cabinet and the people on the left created this situation on the border, facilitated it monetarily, and created the NGO partnerships to move 30 million people into America. And something else that Rachel's mother said that I want my audience to understand. This idea that you can pick the bad people out of the 30 million is incorrect. You can't. Sure, you can see the guys with the face tattoos and all the paraphernalia, all the clothes that the gangbangers wear. Yeah, I get that. They are a huge group in this 30 million, but they're small when I'm talking about the overall criminality of the type of people came in. I bet you if you saw a picture of Rachel's murder, the two savages that raped the young girl in Houston. Hell, I can go on and on and on. I mean, they're just endless. They don't have face tats. In fact, they're all about 5'5", 5'6", about $140, unassuming. You would just see them walking down the street. If you weren't in law enforcement or a Border Patrol agent, you wouldn't. I mean, they would stick out like a beacon to me, and I go, okay, it's illegal. I'm going to roll up on them. How am I going to get them? I can see them from a mile away. But to the average person, it's just the guy going into 7-Eleven. So the idea that Donald Trump or Tom Homan or HSI or ICE or Border Patrol is going to have to get target jackets for every single illegal alien that's in their system as criminals and ignore or somehow say, well, this 25 million that are the 5 million that are in our target jackets and the 25 million that are outside that, we'll deal with the 25 million later. No. You deal with them now. And that's the problem that I'm having. I'm seeing a system that is not working. Is Donald Trump doing the best? Yes. Is Tom Homan doing the best? Yes. Is Christine Holm doing everything she can? Yes. It's not enough. They're still feeding, clothing, and sheltering illegal aliens by the thousands in New York City. Same in Chicago. Why are we not hitting those areas? Why are we not flooding those areas and just say, you know what? For the next week, we're going to do nothing but extract illegals from Chicago. The following week, we're going to do nothing but extract illegals from New York. I don't know. I don't have the answer. I can share the frustrations, but I don't have the answer. Before I bring Kim Yeater on, who I love and need on Thursday, my days are Holy Thursday. I want to talk about Bella Grace. Bella Grace is a great sponsor of ours here at Worldview Tube and on Truth with JJ. So I would like just to show this commercial because I believe in Bella Grace. And I talk about this, I'm going to keep saying it. I have or had at least, I would say about an inch, maybe a 2-inch strip right on the inside of my arm, by my elbow, inside of my elbow. That was like eczema. I don't even know because, of course, I didn't go to the doctor for about a year and a half now. And I've tried everything, bombs, steroid creams, everything. And I went on a 30-day elixir trial. I'm about 3/4 of the way through this elixir trial. It's gone. It's gone. It's just gone off my arm. Brandon House said the same thing happened to him. Melissa House swears by it. And I'm telling you, I swear by it. Go to shopbellagrace.com/truth. Shopbellagrace.com/truth. Go ahead and play this commercial, Caleb. Thank you.
As a practitioner with a very large practice, at the very end of the day, I tended to be a little bit worn out. I wasn't covering from taking care of patients. In January, before we pre-launched the company, I was one of the very first people to get the 15-day samples. And right away, I was connected to the Bella Grace Collagen Elixir. Just an overall feeling of wellness, but also a little more energy. I recovered in my workouts, sleeping just more soundly, and then waking up the next day ready to take it on. For me, it was the power of 3, the cat's claw, the astaxanthin, and of course, the best, most studied Verisol collagen on the market today.
ShopBellaGrace.com/truth. ShopBellaGrace.com/truth. Please support the companies that support us. All right, I want to bring Kim Yeater in. This is Holy Thursday, and I need some optimism and I need some energy because I've been looking at the news nonstop because I'm a news junkie, and it is depressing. I'll just be honest, it's depressing. Let's bring Kim in. How you doing, Kim?
Hey, JJ, it is Holy Thursday. Time to here's the thing. We got to keep our eyes on where we're going. And it is so easy to get off track with the news, man. Thank God we have a family, we have children, because if we don't look into our little kids' eyes and see that there's hope and there's a future, we could be really taken off track by what's going on around us,
Yes, absolutely. And it's infuriating because it seems as if we're not getting any traction, even though we are, because the information highway is so polluted with garbage, and the mainstream media is such a impediment to the truth, right? It's grotesque lies one after another.
Yeah. But here's the thing, JJ. This is where you build the muscle. It's like walking into a gym, right? It's gonna take the repetitive doing the right thing to build that muscle. So sometimes when we're up against it, when we're receiving the negative criticism, the lies, we got to get to the point where we're saying we're sick and tired of this BS. We're done. So, and then what are we going to do about it? Am I going to be a victim and at the effect of what's happening to me? Or am I going to shift it and I'm going to change it? And that's why I love you, JJ, because your show is about we the people taking our power back, taking action so that we can shift it. And it might just start with right here, what we do right here individually, then collectively with our families, and then our community, right? That's where it's going to start.
I agree. It has to start in the family. I see the way the left, the anti-American, and the way Satan attacked us, he attacked our families, because that is the greatest unit in society. Yeah. And when you attack it and destroy it, now you can start to win. Now I'm going to show you a video real quick where it's exactly what we're talking about. We're seeing a shift, right? And sometimes, like, I'm impatient. God did not give me a lot of patience, and it makes me, I want to see it now. Like, I want it now. I want everyone arrested. I want the trial to happen within 30 minutes, and I want them in prison, right? Yeah. But there is a shift, and I want to show you this clip and get your comment on from CNN of all places. And it's Mr. Scott Jenkins.
One of my favorite people, JJ.
Yes, I love that guy. Okay, go ahead, Kale. Let's play it.
To NBC News, there's a growing number of voters who are identifying with the MAGA movement. From January 2024, it was 20%. March 2025, it is 36%. So we're actually seeing the country kind of moving in these opposite directions. Lots of fire and energy on the left, but on the right, more and more Americans are comfortable saying, I'm MAGA.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think a lot of people, a lot of Republicans used to think of themselves as just, average Republicans, and they've really come to respect and appreciate what Donald Trump is doing. I think the immigration issue alone is causing a lot of people to feel closer to Donald Trump than maybe they ever felt before. So I'm not surprised by that finding. I referenced it earlier, but there's also other polling. Very young people, 18 to 21, are feeling more conservative, even as 21 to 24 are feeling less. There was a bit of a split in that generation, but you can see people flowing in different ways here, and it's quite interesting. I actually think the common thread among it all is if you perceive authenticity out of a politician, you tend to gravitate towards them. That's why Trump is popular. I think it's why AOC is popular too. She doesn't appear to be a scripted puppet, neither does Trump, and you can see the crowds they draw.
All right, everyone.
What do you think about that, Kim?
The first thought I have is, have you ever been on a fence? Have you ever sat on a fence? Probably not. You've heard the saying, get off the fence, right? And I think what's happening, it has been so painful for so long for all of us that have been sitting on the fence waiting for something to happen. We're actually beginning to see movement, and we're seeing, when they say authenticity, like we're seeing somebody who's really willing to stand up for us. Like, listen, I got you. Go. I got you. Take your power back. I got you. Take your power back, America. I think that is getting people to the point where they're like, all right, I'm getting off the fence. I'm MAGA. I'm all in. I want to make America great again. That's exactly what I want to do. So I think it's a complete win and a movement forward for America and for the family.
I agree, and I'll go one step further. And this. I don't believe this is anecdotal, because I've talked to some friends across the country, and the same thing have young children like I do. Yeah. And my son, when we go sports or we go somewhere with his friends, I'll just be quiet, right, and just drive, and I'll just listen. And I'm shocked at how these 13 to 15-year-olds are so well versed on politics and their way they're discussing it. And I'm listening to them. Maybe they don't have all the facts correct, but they're critically thinking. And there's a change. There's a demographic shift in America where the insanity, the men can have babies and men need tampons and men in swim sports and you could change your identity and God is wrong. That is almost at the tail end. I feel as if it's dying, and this new generation is coming up, and they're looking at the people in front of them and going, you people are mental patients. I don't want anything to do with that. And I do you feel that or see that with your children or with their friends or people that you know?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's so funny. Our kids are really awake. They are getting things. I mean, they are bombarded by all the social media, right? And I can't believe what my young adult daughters are bringing to light for me. I mean, they're using their critical thinking. They're not just being sucked into the social media. They're actually thinking through. But I think, JJ, that is happening because I think the parents are beginning to have conversations. We're beginning to stop being defensive. We're beginning to stop ignoring what's happening. We're beginning to get off that fence and get active and having conversations with our kids. And I think that's where it's going to start. And I see that those are the things that you have with your kids, JJ. You're a great example of that. And what we're doing right now, it really is for the next generation. So I'm excited about what's ahead. And did you see the breakthrough news? They actually in the courtrooms declared a woman, a biological woman, a woman.
Yeah, and I couldn't believe it. At first I was like, well, okay, well, we're in America, and it was in the UK. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
And the UK is, yes. And they're absolutely need to be on lithium in the UK. And they have major social problems. But in the UK, they said, and what is it, J.K. Rowling was the spearhead of it, of having courage to say, no, this is absurdity. This is insanity. And we are just behind Europe. I mean, you have the governor of Maine still denying and still refusing to follow executive orders. And she's going to be pinned to the ground. She is. And she's grotesque too. Now, I have one other, I'm sorry, go ahead, Kim.
Yeah, no, I as you were saying that, it just caused me to think about the things we take for granted. Like it's just assumed a man is a man. It's assumed a woman is a woman. There's some things that a lot of these things are assumed. Our freedom is assumed. And little do we know that we were giving away our freedom. We were riding in the coattails of our forefathers for such a long time. So it's almost like the basics have to be distinguished again and declared. Our God-given rights need to be distinguished and declared so we can truly walk in that freedom.
I agree. And I'll go, let me tell you what happened. That's on Saturday, I went to my son's track meet, and track meets they're like hours long. Forever. And I'm watching forever, right? But you're a former collegiate athlete and played all the sports in high school. And I'm watching, and this was middle school, and I'm watching these girls, right? Run the 60, run the 100, do the relay, do the high jump. And I'm watching them give everything they have, like everything they have. And they're so proud, right? They're working so hard. And I think to myself, how would we ever allow a boy to come in there and steal their limelight, to steal their achievement because of some ideological mental illness, Satan?
Yes.
And we would do this, and I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, or how does the fathers allow their daughters to be abused like this? There's no way I would tolerate that. I know what I would do. I'd find the father of the transgender nut job running in with my daughter, and I would go and I would beat his ass. I would.
Yes, you would.
Sorry, Kim, I would. I just would. I can't beat up the kid because he's just a mental patient, but I'm gonna go beat the father's ass for being an ass.
Yeah,
but my God,
look at how angry, like the girl. Look at how people they're absolutely appalled. The young generation is appalled. They're waking up of how their freedom is being stolen from them. But people are beginning to take responsibility and going, I can't do this. Now I'm going to stand. The fencer and she said, no, I'm not doing this. I'm not going to fight you.
Correct.
That is
beautiful
courage. This is opportunity for all of us to take our power back.
Absolutely. And then I want to show you this next. I mean, this video, I've shown this before, but it's new. It's like from yesterday or the day before. And it's RFK Jr. talking about the poisons of vaccines. And we could go one step further. Poisons in our food, poisons in our lotions, our shampoos, everything. But I want to show you this because it is shocking when you listen to the statistics as he's coming out. This is a intentional poisoning of the entire race. Doesn't matter what color, what age you are, it is destroying our people. Let's watch this.
So Americans can understand what is happening with chronic disease in this country in real time and not have to wait 2 years to react. We don't wait 2 years to react to a measles epidemic, and we should not, or any kind of infectious disease. We shouldn't have to do that for diabetes or autism. The ASD prevalence rate in 8-year-olds is now 1 in 31. Shocking. There's an extreme risk for boys. Overall, the risk for boys of getting an autism diagnosis in this country is now 1 in 20. And as high in California, which has the best data collection. So it probably also reflects the national trend, 1 in 12.5 boys. This is part of an unrelenting upward trend. The prevalence 2 years ago was 1 in 36. Since the first ADDM report in 1990, which was 1992 births, autism has increased by a factor of 4.8. That's 480%, I believe. The first ADDM survey was 22 years ago, when prevalence was 1 in 150 children. In all the core states, the trend is consistently upward, and most cases now are severe. So about 25% of the kids who are diagnosed with autism are nonverbal, non-toilet trained, and have other stereotypical features, head banging, tactile and light sensitivities, stimming, toe walking, etc.
Shocking, Kim. Shocking.
It's sick. It's sick. And we actually could have done something about this had we known the impact of, one, what is in those vaccines, and then two, what is in the everyday products that we use. Parabens, alcohols, sulfates, triclosan, quaternary disinfectants, they're heavy metals. They cause neurological damage, endocrine disruption, immune system effects, hormonal imbalance, skin irritation, developmental concerns. I mean, it's a big deal what's being exposed. And it can leave people feeling right now, JJ, that, I mean, I know how I felt 20 years ago. I didn't know what to do, and I didn't know how to get rid of my daughter's allergies, what we were dealing with. But when you're dealing with things like autism, right? I mean, you look it up and you can't find necessarily proof, because they won't allow you to find the proof of the connection with vaccines and autism, and then the chemicals, the things that you're using in your everyday home. I mean, there's more information now, but we really have the ability to take our power back, because we've got one life to live. And these kids, these babies, even these fetuses are susceptible, because that mama that is pregnant with that baby, her skin is the largest organ of her body. What's on her skin within 26 seconds hits that bloodstream. You don't think that's going to the fetus, those heavy metals? 100% yes.
Well, your show, Take Our Power Back. And the theme of that is, once you have the knowledge, Kim, you have to act. You can't, there's no more willful ignorance. Oh, I didn't know that. No. You know that now. And one of the ways that I partnered with you and this company called patriotsmade.com is then that's our way to take our power back, is we go and we shop for really what the left claims they believe in clean, green products that are made here in America, and they don't have the toxins in them. They don't have the metals. That is what we need to do to take our, because the other alternative, and what RFK Jr. did not say in that, is the companies that are selling you the vaccines and all the pharmaceuticals are the same companies that are selling you the shampoos and the lotions and the foods and on and on and on. And so we're supporting them by going to the big box stores and buying their products. And then here's the killer. Then they take the profits to make it to pay off the politicians, to pay off everyone in order to continue this cycle, or they take their profits and they give it to Planned Parenthood, Black Lives Matter, defund the police. So we essentially are paying for our own demise. That's the sickness of it all.
Yeah, it's the cycle to hell. You keep them sick and you feed them in the pharmaceutical industry, right? And what we found is educated shoppers make wiser choices when we have the information and a resource to go to. I talk to families all the time, JJ, that they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired of trying to read labels because then I get confused by this and then they're changing this and they're renaming this. What if you actually had a resource that was American, debt-free, privately held, made over 450 products that actually had the best ingredients where you're not struggling with, is this company integrity? Are they trying to deceive me? Are these products really good? But you actually have products that do what they're supposed to do. And you can take your power back with your health. That's what we have with patriotsmade.com/JJ. So it's been a game changer, JJ.
Yeah, it is. And what I like, and you sold me on it for multiple reasons, but one was, my thing was like, okay, I got to go buy more stuff at another store? No, instead of going to the box stores, I go here. It costs less, I get more, but it's everything I use anyway. So why would I continue to go to the box stores? Look, I love Costco, but Costco is heavy into DEI. I'm a white male. So if I went to try to go work at Costco, because I'm white, I'm going to be on the bottom of the hiring process. Well, that's un-American. So why would I go spend my money there when I have an alternative? And that's why I partner with you with Patriots Made.
Good choice with partnering with me because what we really did was we took our power back, And I was talking to a woman today, JJ, and she's like, Kim, I'm doing a really good job. She goes, I feel so much better. I'm using the Peak Performance Pack with Oligo technology. I feel like, I have more energy. My lights are being turned on. And she's like, but I'm still using Clorox. And I know I'm working on one part here and getting healthy, but I'm tearing myself down by using Clorox or bleach. She's like, how can I make that change? And I'm like, okay, listen, this is what we're going to do. And I showed her, I partnered with her so that she knows what to do to take her power back. And our resource at patriotsmade.com, USA Today just labeled America's best brand in 2025. So I showed her how to take her power back, make that switch so that now she's putting what's good in her body. And at the same time, she is surrounded by what's good. Not only is it going to boost her immune system, her pets are going to live a whole lot longer.
Well,
that's the reality when you get the junk out of the house.
Yes, it's true. Kim, always great to talk to you. You always give me hope and you give me energy and encouragement. And we need that because we're going into the greatest Christian holiday of the year. I don't even want to call it a holiday, but the greatest season is our Savior rises up, and that's the hope that we have. So, Kim, happy Easter, and I hope you have a great time with your family.
Oh, happy Easter. God bless you, JJ. Love you. Thank you for keep fighting on. Come on.
All right. Kim Yeater, the best, absolutely the best. Full of energy, excitement, hope. Take your power back. And you can't say no to Kim. That's the thing. You just can't say no to her. She says, JJ, I want to talk to you about this. I'm like, okay, I know that I'm going to end up doing it. So let's just get past the pitch and just tell me what you need me to do. And she's like, okay, this is what we're going to do. She's the powerhouse. Love Kim. Kim Yeater. Take Your Power Back show. Take Your Power Back show. She has incredible guests, incredible lineup every single day. Go to her show. Take Your Power Back show with Kim Yeater. I saw this priest. I don't know who this is. Somebody just pushed this out and I grabbed it. And I was like, I would love to know who this guy is, but no one can find out who he is. And he is one of the few men that I've seen on the pulpit that have said or are unafraid to speak just the simple truth. Because Kim and I were talking about there's a divide in America. You have to make a decision on which one you want to go to. Do you want to go to the left, who believes in abortion, transgender, gender ideology, murdering babies, killing old people, taking your money to give to others, theft, or as we saw in Rachel Moran's mom talking about this, that the senator and the people, the politicians on the left are siding with illegal aliens and physically flying to El Salvador, trying to petition the government, the president, to release a savage killer and allow him to come to America to savagely kill more of us. That's the side you have to choose. If you want death and destruction and evil, then go to the left. That's just a fact. Do I think the Republicans are much better? Yes, I do. But I think the rhino section of the Republican Party needs to be cut away. And I've said this many, many times. If Donald Trump did not resurrect himself and stay in the fight and run for president, I believe we would be on the verge of a third party. Absolutely believe it. Call it MAGA, call it whatever you want, but there would be a call for a third party because no one was going to follow the Republicans. Who were going to fall? Jim Jordan's going to run for president? Speaker Johnson? McConnell? Come on, I can go down the list. I could spend the next hours just naming names. But we know that the Republican Party does not really exist. It's Donald Trump and MAGA. The Republican Party is just a lesser evil of the Democrats. But listen to what this priest says, and this priest is 100% correct, and I'm sure that he got reprimanded by the 90% of the U.S. Catholic bishops that are registered Democrats. Well, wait till we get into that next week when I have a great guest that just wrote a book called Charity for Sale in the U.S. Conference of Bishops. Oh, wait till you see this. But go ahead and play this one, Caleb.
You cannot be a practicing Catholic and be part of the current Democratic Party knowing that this group is actively working for the killing of the unborn. You cannot be part of a group or an association that's focus is to bring about moral evils. This is why for centuries, the Catholic Church has made it very clear that you cannot be a Freemason, because there are foundational principles of the Freemasons that are contrary to the Catholic faith. You cannot be part of something which is essential to it, moral evils, because you cannot be part of something and not support what is essential to it, picking and choosing what you want, what you like, and you have a moral obligation not to be part of that. There is a moral obligation here not to be part of them, regardless of whatever other good things you might think the Democratic Party is trying to bring about. Murder is a line you cannot cross.
A murder is not a line murder is a line you cannot cross. How about if all the priests, all the pastors, and all the rabbis spoke like this? Think there would be a little difference? But why won't they? Because they're scared to death of losing their 501c3. They would rather sell their faith for 30 pieces of silver. What a day. Holy Thursday. We're within a couple hours of Judas selling Jesus for 30 pieces of silver. And I would argue successfully that our Christian faith has done just that. Let's talk about the other side some more. What do they represent? I'm going to show you a video of Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, asking for another loan of $2.8 billion bailout on top of last week's $3.4 billion loan. What is the loan for? Is it for high-speed rail? Is it to lessen the regulations and burdens and taxations and pollution, congestion, home prices? No. It is for Medi-Cal. Well, why are you now almost over $6 billion in debt for Medi-Cal? For what? Well, for illegal aliens. This man has destroyed, and his leftist mental patients have destroyed the beautiful state of California. I lived there for 24 years. Absolutely stunning. Stunning. Beautiful. Loved it. Destroyed it. Destroyed it. They are going, they being California, was in the black during COVID because they got massive infusion of about $100 billion. And they kept telling, look, we're such a great economy. And I'm thinking, no. You've been bankrupt and you just got inheritance from a long lost uncle. And now you're flush with cash. But now they're running a $60 billion deficit. You're losing money by the billions of dollars, and you still keep medicating and giving health care to illegal aliens to the tune of almost $10 billion in 2024. It's insanity. Go ahead and play this for me, Caleb.
Governor Gavin Newsom says the state short on funds for its Medicaid program known as Medi-Cal. The state expanded the program to cover undocumented immigrants. The governor asked lawmakers to approve another $2.8 billion in
Caleb,
loans
do you have
on
a
top
clip
of a
Tyrone?
$3.4 billion loan issued last week. So California now making up a $6.2 billion shortfall in Medi-Cal funds. The money meant to keep the program properly funded through June.
The realities are the realities. You have to balance budgets. We balance our budget. Revenue's holding up. I don't see anything significant along the lines of what some have asserted. But I do see the need to make adjustments and changes broadly in the Medicaid system.
Meantime, Republicans blaming Democrats for creating financial insecurity with the Medi-Cal program. They say undocumented people should not be covered.
You think undocumented? I can't stand that term, undocumented. Come on, can we get out of the Orwellian state that we're in? They're called illegal aliens. And you morons in California are spending $10 billion a year to provide health care for them. You have homeless devouring the state of California. You don't know what to do. California is the absolute perfect example of mental patient left ideology. It just is. The left destroy everything. Everything. And everyone is starting to get a little pissed off. I'm going to show you a quick clip from a recent interview Tucker Carlson had with a former congressman by the name of Whelan. He's a firecracker, man. He knows that 9/11 never happened the way it did. He was there in the quote subcommittees. And he says the 9/11 Commission is an absolute joke. It's a falsehood. It's a bunch of papers with nothing on it. He questions everything that happened that day. We are in an age of awakening, and I believe that this man's temperament is going to be the temperament of America very shortly, and it should make people very uneasy. Can you play that for me, Caleb?
There are good people in the agency, but there are scumbags that work in our agencies. And I know them, and they're making money. They're $1 million people, and their $1 million companies are going to be exposed if it's the last thing I do. And you'll see the ties around the world to the $1 million intel people who've made money off the backs of young American kids who have died in wars while they make money. And I'll give you example after example of that. In Russia, in Ukraine, around the world, in Libya. That's what's wrong. And until we understand that, it's not going to stop.
He shows us through that temperament the anger that is building and building and building in America. You can sense it. You can feel it. It is happening. And if there's not a release valve, and one of those release valves is when Americans see justice, meaning you know that a crime's been committed and you see the reaction of law enforcement through arrest, and then you see them go through the system and then they go to jail. That is a pressure release valve in America, where other nations never get it, right? They never get justice. So then it just boils up, and then there's an explosion. It's a complete societal, cultural change, political change. We don't have that, or we didn't have that in America because we had law and order. We have no more law and order. And you can sense it. Every day, Donald Trump, Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, Dan Bongino do not make high-profile arrests, is this pressure cooker gets hotter and hotter and hotter, and it's going to explode. Just going to explode. Kim Yeater talked about Patriots Made. I talked about Bella Grace. Another sponsor we have is Pet Club 24/7, and this is kind of like how I crafted the organizations and the companies that I want to be sponsors, partner with, is I want it to be health driven and prepared. And Pet Club 24/7 is an incredible organization run by two beautiful Christians, Kurt and Kristen, and they created a company based on a mushroom, a natural mushroom in Japan, and was able to bring it in and put it in capsule forms for humans, pet food for dogs and cats and horses. And it's all natural. I take it every day. I believe in it. My good friend Alpha Warrior we call it the blue bottle. He takes the blue bottle. I take the green. He takes the blue. He takes the blue because it gives him incredible clarity. He says I get laser focused. It clears my mind. All of the products that I promote, I use. I love this company. Pet Club 24/7. My dog Cinnamon, she eats their pet food, has her pet treats. She's not getting disgusting, prepackaged, frozen, whatever the hell they do to the dog food or the treats. Not my little Cinnamon. Watch this commercial. And please go to truthwithjj247.com, truthwithjj247.com.
There's nothing we wouldn't do for our pets. They're like our children. Our friends at Pet Club 24/7 have developed natural products that contain the most potent strain of a mushroom that's been used for thousands of years to help support the immune system. So visit their website today to discover how they're changing the way that pets and their parents are being treated for the better.
As a practitioner with a very large practice,
go to truthwithjj247.com, truthwithjj247.com for Pet Club 24/7. Love that product. And I even love Dr. Lucky getting another plug in there for Bella Grace for 2 seconds. I just had an incredible interview that I did for The Vault Tuesday, excuse me, man, my days are flying by, with a gentleman named Tyrone Mohammed, 21 years in prison for murder, running for Senate now for Dick Durbin's seat in the state of Illinois, wants to restructure the inner cities, the jail system, and he and I are, if you looked at us on paper, would think these guys are absolutely opposed. And we're not. He sees things a little differently than I do. He spent 21 years in jail. At the same time that he was in jail, I was spending 24 years in the United States Border Patrol. But we are actually ideologically, morally aligned. I think this guy is a very, very intelligent man that has incredible points. Here's a clip from our interview that's going to come out next Thursday.
Nobody gave me nothing. Yet I created a center. I got people to donate to buy a building. I didn't take it and put it in my pocket. I built business myself from my own hard work and effort. Nobody gave me no loan from a bank or anything. So if you gave me trillions, you would probably see the difference between what $1 trillion looked like on a grassroots level versus giving $1 trillion to our so-called intelligentsia of the communities. They would never, they were spending all in administration and staffing and retirement packages before they spend it on the people in the infrastructure. Without infrastructure, it doesn't matter because you won't be able to move about even if you have the money.
Okay, let's go down because this is very important. So let's say that I'm the president and I go, Tyrone, I'm going to make you in charge of inner cities in Chicago. Here is $100 billion. Tell me what your top several moves immediately are. And how do you, and at the same time, how do you convince your community where outside of America is looking in saying, oh, shit, we're going to give this man a couple $1 billion and they're going to piss it away and they're going to continue to rob and murder and rape each other. Why are we doing this? Convince me to give you the $100 billion. What are you going to do with it?
First of all, the one thing I'm going to do is identify who has been our leaders and the pariahs of our community. I'm going to identify over the course of 20 years, 30 years, 60 years, the churches and institutions that we have given money to no avail. They will absolutely get nothing.
And he's right. Tyrone Muhammad is right. And he pointed that out to me when I was interviewing him in South Side of Chicago. Horrible place. Horrible place. Hopelessness, destitute. And I asked him, Tyrone, everyone outside of this area, they don't care. They don't care because we've given you being the poverty, Black America, trillions of dollars. And what have you done with it? And he said, JJ, hold on a second. Look around. Just please look around. And I started looking around. I was like, oh, man, every other house was boarded up. There were no businesses. There were no grocery stores. There was no anything except like bombed out buildings. And he said to me, you say that we get a lot of money. Tell me where that money is. And we just kind of looked at each other and he says, it never makes it down to us. They steal it all. All the Democrats, as he says, the church pastors. This is all a giant shell game. Unbelievable. We live in unbelievable times. For Christians, we have the greatest season of our faith is happening this weekend. We see the death, crucifixion, and then resurrection of our Savior. That is the only hope. I believe strongly that only God is going to be able to correct this. However, or in addition to that, we cannot be on our knees praying. We have to get up off our knees and use the gifts God's given us to take our country back from the evil Satan that is owning our world now. If we do not get off on our knees and fight we will die there. We will die there impotent and cowardly on our knees.
You're watching Worldview 2, built on the 35 years of Worldview books, documentaries, research, high-profile interviews, and the radio and television broadcasts of Brannon House.